Yeah.
We are mentally insane.
My VR chat experience has been more than I've ever bargained for. The VR chat I used
Oh,
it
yeah.
for.
Oh my god. I definitely fell into the rabbit hole because
Mhm.
I found VRChat in desktop mode. I got the headset to hang out with some of my online friends. That's
And
the only way to be
then
like
you started hanging
physically
out with
touchy with
me.
each other. No, no.
It's my
Then
fault.
I
It
got
is.
manipulated, and then
And
I fell to
then you hung out.
actually I fell to Valorant, and then I went back to VRChat, and then I met and then everything went to shit. I hate
And
myself.
then you started hanging out with me.
And then I started hanging out with you.
I personally use this game to help me get away from addiction.
It's mostly just people that are lonely. It seems like people who don't have a lot of the same opportunities, I guess, in person, either due to physical appearance, physical disabilities, or any number of things. Just like exploring life through the virtual world. It's a lot.
I wouldn't necessarily say seen, but one thing that I didn't really expect were so many people on VR chat that are like prefer to be mute. Because I feel like it's more open, vocal, social, like you're hiding behind an avatar essentially anyway to meet people or to hang out or play games or do whatever. But so many people that elect to still just not talk. I mean, I get it from like an anxiety standpoint, I guess, but I just feel like it's more of an open, safe, anonymous space in that aspect. Hang on, I got a phone call.
The rabbit hole. There are a lot of communities, no, not communities, people that likes to dox other people. They steal avatars. There's a real underground to it. If you go on the wrong places and be annoying to people you shouldn't be, they're gonna DDoS you, dox you, and several other things. So I usually try and stick to the more popular places. Black Cat, not really go too deep. DDoSing is basically, I'm an IT student, so they send a whole lot of information to your home router, you know, the things that give you internet, so that you can't access anything anymore. And doxing, no, the first example was DDoSing, the second doxing is often saying in the middle of a play session your real name, location where you live, and that type of stuff. Very weird if you think about it. Use a VPN is my suggestion, but in the 21st century, let me tell you, as an IT student, you're never really perfectly safe. Privacy is gone.
What's your YouTube name? So you can probably like cut this out a little bit too. Go subscribe to Humans in VR. Okay.
I think the problem is that I would say a little bit over half the people in this game have had no other social outlet like in real life. I mean, I know this exacerbated. I mean, like, but to the most of the degree, like, besides for going to school and dealing with their family, VRChat was one of the first social outlets for them. Because I've ran into a lot of friend groups. I've made groups of like 10 or 12 people, like almost every year, and it lasts about a year, and everyone gets in a fight and then moves on. It's like sophomore year of high school every year, like emotionally. I'm 28. Yeah, I've been playing since 2017.
Definitely PC Worlds, without question. That is my definitive answer, and I can explain. It's hard to imagine, like, especially for newer players, it's hard to imagine a time in VR chat before what we like to call, a lot of people like to call the Quest boom. A lot of people talk negatively about this, and I'm not going to go into that kind of controversy about what kinds of people, the Quest boom brought in, because, that Quest being such an accessible piece of hardware brought huge new swaths of people of all different walks of life. And I'm not going to comment on that. But what I can comment on is the emphasis on Quest optimized worlds. And it has come a long way. But the simple fact of the matter is that a lot of creative potential has been stifled and stuffed and not featured because the VR chat developers, as well as a lot of content creators, are pushing very heavily for as many worlds as possible and as many avatars as possible to be Quest optimized. And oftentimes, to achieve that, a lot of creative integrity needs to be sacrificed. And not just in terms of optimization, but in terms of the way that things in worlds are implemented. And as an example of this, one of the coolest worlds I have ever seen in this game is something that I have never seen like anyone else in it publicly. Like it has a very low visit count compared to a lot of other worlds. It's called Kaizo Complex. There's actually a Kaizo Complex 1 and a Kaizo Complex 2 made by a user called Kaizo Mario. And that's just one example of like it's worlds like that where you will go and it is just an endless display of new and exciting things to explore and see, even gameplay elements that are just not seen in Quest worlds. But that's the world right there. I recommend this world so highly. Like you could visit that world 5 times and spend an hour there every time you go and not find everything. There's secrets, little hidden gameplay elements, memes, references. This world would be a shadow of itself if it were forced to be quest optimized, is what I'm saying. So going out of your way to kind of, sorry for moving around so much, kind of going out of your way to be shown, like, it's friends that I have made over time through mutual connections and through meeting them on Discord servers and stuff. Friends that I've made that are content creators, like a lot of them I've met because back in the day, the community of VRChat used to be much smaller. It was much easier to meet prolific content creators. And I've met people through those friends that have shown me worlds that are just absolutely magnificent. But to me, that's the definitive answer is just finding and exploring niche worlds that just have so much love, so much work, so much effort put into them that you can't just help but be re-inspired. It's just amazing to me, the amount of love and creativity and passion that goes into some of these worlds. It's astounding. And getting to show them to your friends and explore them with your friends and introduce people to wonders that they have not seen before, that is the inspiration. That is, the draw of the rabbit hole for me.
And this one guy, I haven't blocked still. I give him my Discord, kid you not,
Ew.
but he was just a general creep. And the fact that he only lived like one state away genuinely scared me because I didn't want to push that further and have him become like a stalker because he seemed like the stalker type in all honesty.
Yeah, of course he does. Where wouldn't he? Okay, honestly,
looks
gorgeous.
odd.
So I kind of understand where he's coming from. Like, literal work of art. Who wouldn't want this? You're kind of incredible. You're kind of absolutely amazing.
Like, I was genuinely terrified of this man. It took me a couple hours of just sitting and just ghosting him just to work myself up to blocking him. Because at that point, I'm like, he knows the state I'm in. He could probably find my address and find my IP because I didn't use a VPN at that point. But it was genuinely scary the way he was talking to me.
Oh, well, yeah, it's definitely VR users are definitely frowned upon, and for being VR users, I mean, but it's just because it's like a new fad. But I don't really think people that use VR, it's just like one of those things, like they don't realize they're being discriminated until someone discriminates them for it. I talk to my coworkers about VR all the time, and they either don't understand and disrespect my views, or they're very interested and have at least tried it. I got some people that told me I'm basically just like a nerd who's like, oh, you play VR in your little extra separate life, your little fantasy world. Yeah, no, I've gotten all kinds of stuff. Not that it's not a fact. It's essentially what an oasis would be is a fantasy world.
I think it depends. I think for the people that are really into it, it's the same feeling as when you finally get to go over to your friend's house, somebody you haven't seen in a while, you get to go hang out and party with your friends and have a great time. I think if you look at it with too much knowledge on it, that it does become a sad place. It just kind of depends. A lot of the times the vibe will change depending on the people that are there. A lot of times if you're seeing people who are there because they are just enjoying spending time with friends that they wouldn't otherwise see, it's usually not that bad. But when you go to some of the deeper ones, it's usually, you can tell it's people that just have a shitty life outside of VR and are trying to experience a good life outside of that. And that is very sad every time.
I've been on here for well over a year now. And I started out just a Quest standalone player, and I just got a laptop late last year. So I can tell you from the Quest community, they tend to really dislike PC users, because PC users tend to also be very, I don't know the right word, they brag a lot. And then they call Quest users poor and that sort of thing. So there's definitely, I would consider those two different subcultures.
I've seen a lot of activity of things where it's essentially someone's private world. And if you either know the person or have a group activity invite, you can get into all kinds of crazy activities. I mean, just like any Facebook group you could do if you were in person. It's just a matter of knowing, whatever incentive you have. It is the internet. I mean, there's like stuff like that to like even you can go as far as like having a personal church group that is like legit, like they're going to church, but it's in virtual reality, but it's a private world. So, I mean, it's just really just like there's any, deep rabbit hole on the internet. If someone found a reason to put it on VRChat, then it's probably on VRChat. Like on the internet in general, everything's a little bit exacerbated. Things get emotional, but at the end of the day, it's just the internet.
I suppose there's quite a lot of I've taken part in like the clubbing scenes sometimes. I know that's quite a big subculture now, but I suppose to a new player you don't really see that often.
It does not help.
Like,
social
okay,
anxiety.
it can help. It can help with some things, but like also if you meet like us two, like we're both mentally ill. We help each other sometimes, but then if you both fall into something really bad, you
Yeah,
remember
happened
what
a
it was
lot.
like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, when it's not both of us at the same time, we tend to pull each other out of whatever shit the other one's going through.
Yeah. So it can be helpful. You just got to make sure it doesn't overlap.
If I didn't meet this one or half of the people I know now, I feel like
Aw.
I will bite your face off.
I will scratch your eyes out.
I feel
think
like it's a
more
little
the
easier.
accessibility of being able to be social without being the don't with other people that have been through similar experiences, and the whole expression through avatars and everything like that is personal, like comforting to me, and feeling accepted in communities where you find little shits that also have the same mental issues as you.
I'm older than you.
But yeah, like the ability to socialize with people that have similar illnesses and experiences to you is very good.
Oh yeah, they completely took exactly what I was gonna say.
Like I said earlier, about 65% of people on this game are not very emotionally intelligent. I'm not a doctor by any means. I would think it would be helpful for those disorders, but from my honest opinion from playing this game, I think it's just like any other addictive behavior. It's only beneficial in the moment, but once you're done doing it, it doesn't help you. Because I found it that I could focus on using the time playing this game that would help me, keep me away from using hard drugs. And it worked. I got myself involved into it and led into like a 5-year addiction. And the only way I could really get away from them was to be in VR. It was like a slow integration out of their lives. Unfortunately, as roommates, we no longer exist, and we're still good friends, but it helped me get away from them, like, as close as I was, because if I were to engage in those environments, it would probably have been the end of me. It was just kind of like a series of events that just led from one to another to that it just happened. I'm a very hyper emotional person. I feel things intensely in general. I have like really bad ADD, so this game was just like the perfect outlet. I just can feel unlimited joy from this game, and there's no precursor or no negative side effect to it. It's just nonstop joy. I treat VRChat like a dimension. I'm here to experience people in general, and I don't really expect to fall into a group as much as I'm just walking down the street like I would in reality.
Kindness is contagious. When you are kind, you inspire others. Be the spark. Spreading kindness merchandise available now.